In this video, I'm going to walk you through my entire 40-point Google Business Profile checklist. In the last 30 days alone, this checklist has generated anywhere from 150 to well over 400 phone calls and directions requests for our dental practice clients. If you're a dental practice owner in 2025, Google Maps really isn't optional. You not only have to have it set up properly, but you have to keep it well maintained and make sure you're providing all of the information that new patients expect. Not getting this right could be the difference between seeing a consistent increase in new patients each month and being completely invisible to new patients. I'm David Jackson, the founder of Visible Dental, a dental marketing agency located in Overland Park, Kansas. And today, you're going to learn how to outrank every competitor in your market using Google Maps local SEO so that you can boost your practice visibility and more reliably attract qualified patients to your practice. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. Just real quick before we get into the checklist, I wanted to show you that going through this checklist and actually optimizing your Google Business Profile is extremely significant to the visibility of your practice and business in general. I'm going to go into this profile here. This is one of the pediatric dental clients that we work with in Overland Park. And just taking a look here, we can see that in some months it's generating over 400 phone calls for their business. April is not quite finished yet, but I think they're going to finish over 300 there. We can also take a look at directions requests, and we see that they really increased in March. Over 359 people asked for directions, but they are consistently landing over 200, and that has been climbing quite a bit since late last year. This is another location of theirs. This is actually their location in another part of town. We can see that the calls are still pretty good. They're still getting well over 200 and sometimes over 300 calls in a single month. This is another location of theirs and pretty similar story. 300, 300, 400 in March, and directions requests still pretty good. Not as good as the Overland Park location, but still pretty good. They have 7 locations now. They actually had 6 locations and just opened their 7th recently. They've been growing pretty quickly because they absolutely dominate Google Maps. And it's all because of this checklist that I'm going to walk through and show you exactly how to do all of the things in this checklist in this video. Let me actually show you one more. This is a general practice that we work with, and they also have pretty good Google Business Profile results. They're actually newer. They've only been around for about 2 years, 2.5 years, and they're still generating a pretty good amount of calls for this location. I don't think this is their best location, but they're still able to bring in a lot of phone calls and a pretty healthy amount of directions requests, especially considering that, again, they're only 2 years old here. It's very important that you optimize your Google Business Profile, especially if you're looking to figure out what is the lowest hanging fruit on what I can do today to improve my practice tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get into how to go through this list and talk about some of the things that are the most significant here. Starting off with business information. So business name. Does your business name actually match your practice? It should be a 10 out of 10. Most people should have this all figured out. However, if you are a multi-location practice, you may want to consider putting in your name plus the city that you're located in for that location. I'm going to show you an example of this. Aspen Dental, which I'm sure most dental practices are aware of, they have multiple locations, but after their name, Aspen Dental, they're actually putting in the city that they're located in. This can help with location relevancy. This can help you show up for that location in that town. It's something I'd recommend. It's not always necessary because with the client that we work with here, we just have all of their locations say the exact same name, but it couldn't hurt, especially if you're looking for maybe an extra boost, to go ahead and put the city name in there for more relevancy when someone is searching for dentist in Dallas, Texas, for instance, or dentist in Highland Park or whatever it may be. You'll just distinguish that in there, and it could help you show up for more of those terms. Let's talk about the category. You want to make sure that you've selected the correct category. So if you go in here, a lot of times there are dentists that will just have dentist down as their primary category, and that's okay. But if you specifically are a cosmetic dentist or a pediatric dentist or orthodontist, you want to make sure that you select that as your primary category. You can add all of the other things in as your secondary categories. You could say, okay, I do this ortho as a secondary, or any other types of dental categories here. But for the most part, your primary category should be what you want to most be known for. And so make sure you get that right. Don't just say dentist. You definitely want to modify it to something that is the most specific description of your actual practice. Going down, your description should be as close to 750 characters as possible, and it should also include location-based relevancy. So talk about where you are specifically, talk about your services, talk about the experience at your practice. Just really give as much information as you can, but try to include those city names, try to include those service names in the description, but try to get to as close to 750 characters as you can. Going down to opening date here, just put in the date that you opened, put in the date that your practice started. You don't need a specific day, but if you know the month and the year, that's great. Phone number, of course, put your phone number in here. Now, here's something else that a lot of people get wrong. Actually, a lot of dental practices get this wrong, especially if they have multiple locations. So if you have a single location, you would put your website here because you only have one location, so you need to really send everybody there. But if you have multiple locations, you need to be sending people to a location-specific page that is relevant to the Google Business Profile. So to show you a quick example, this is the Overland Park location. And when I click on website, I go specifically to the Overland Park page. And there's information on here that is relevant to that specific location. So that's what we can see here. If I go to Shawnee, the same thing applies. I press website, and I'm going to the Shawnee location. And information on here is relevant to Shawnee. And these pages should be unique. These pages should have information specific to that location. You shouldn't just use templates. You shouldn't just use cloned content. Everything should be unique and relevant. But yes, you do want location-specific pages based on the number of Google Business Profiles you have. That's going to increase your relevancy in that area, and it's going to absolutely make you rank higher for it. Going down a little further, we have social profiles. All of the social profiles that you have, go ahead and put them here. Pretty straightforward. A short name. You do want to set a short name. You don't have to really overthink it. Just maybe shortened version of your practice name is totally fine. Business location, of course, that'll be set to wherever your office is. For service areas, you can put these in all of the areas that you're accepting new patients from. We found that it's not really important to put everything in. You can totally just leave this as, okay, if we serve this area and maybe 2 or 3 surrounding cities, it doesn't make a massive impact on your rankings to include every single city. I know it's being done here, but it's not really that necessary, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just do what you think might be best there. Business hours, of course, that goes without saying. Just set your business hours to what they should be. Now, special hours and holiday hours. You do want to come in and set your holiday hours. Google is going to, and they probably have in the past, send you messages asking, hey, are you open on Memorial Day? Are you open on July 4th? Are you open on Thanksgiving? Are you going to be? And they ask you that because they notice you haven't updated your profile to match that. And they'll have a lot of suggestions in here. Like, for instance, they have a suggestion here for us that says, okay, Memorial Day, which is on the 26th of May, are you closed? And you would review that and say yes. But it's ideal to come in here and just pre-add all of the dates for the year that your practice will be closed on. This includes holidays, but it also includes just days where maybe you're having a company holiday, maybe there's something going on where you have to be closed. But it tells Google that you are really staying up to date and informing your patients on the hours of your business, because they want Google Business Profile to be that one-stop shop. So the more of that information you provide, the more favorable Google will look at your practice. All of the rest of this stuff, you do want to fill it out if it's relevant. So this is just additional business information. Do you have wheelchair accessibility? Do you have different amenities, parking information? It all helps your profile be more complete. And like I said before, it helps you to provide very strong and accurate information so you can tell both old and new patients what to expect when they visit. And Google looks at that very favorably. That really covers the basic business information. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section. So the next thing I want to talk about are photos and videos. And this is an area in which I'd say maybe 7 in 10 profiles that we look at have this problem. They just don't upload enough pictures of their practice. When a patient is looking for a dentist and they're opening 2, 3, 4, 5 dentists near them that they're trying to compare, pictures are going to be one of the first things that they actually look at next to your reviews. If you've only got 10 or 15 pictures on there, someone is probably going to skip you and move on to someone else because it's a sign of trust and it's a sign of setting the right expectation with that future patient. You want to upload as many pictures as you can, but the pictures that you upload are also important here. What you want is a cover photo, you want your logo, you want about 2 to 5 minimum pictures of your staff and team. You want a variety of pictures to showcase the patient experience. This includes the reception area, treatment rooms, things that you can really show to just showcase your unique patient experience. Another great thing you can have on here, with their permission, are pictures of patients. You can do smiling patient faces, you can do before and afters. This is where you just want to really get creative and add in pictures that set an expectation for what that future patient's experience is going to be. The next thing you can add are videos. When someone is on the Google Maps app and they're searching for a dentist, videos will show up pretty prominently in the results. This video could be the same video that you have on your homepage. It can be a short that you're posting to social media. You don't really have to overthink it, but I think one of the best videos you can put out is just something that showcases your experience in a nice and concise way. Okay, so next up is categories, services, and products. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but you do want to make sure that your primary business category is set and that you have some additional categories set for other things that you might do. Again, your primary category should be how you are classified as a dental practice. Pediatric, cosmetic, general. You want to select the right one. And then you want to go ahead and put in those additional categories. Now, when you do that, a few things are going to change on your Google Business profile. You're going to see that under the categories that you've chosen, you'll have a list of services that Google recommends based on what you selected. Now, with this here, we went in and we actually customized these quite a bit. But this one down here, you may or may not have already set up your services. Google's going to have a lot of them that they just suggest automatically based on your category. But if I scroll down and I click Add More Services, there's going to be additional services that Google recommends, again, based on the category. In this case, they're saying teeth whitening. Your list may be a lot larger. They may be recommending multiple things that you haven't added to your profile yet. I'm going to go ahead and select teeth whitening. When you click that, it will add it to this big list, and then you can select it and modify it. So this is an example here of a new service that we recently added that Google suggested. By the way, you want to come in and do this at least once every quarter because Google is always suggesting new services that you should add based on the category that you've chosen. When you add these, it just increases your chances of showing up when someone types in that specific service. What we need to do here is we actually need to make sure the service is named properly, and then we want to type out a service description. It is good if you can hit as close to that 300 character count as possible. You don't have to add the price. We usually leave that blank. Within the service name, we like to modify that name to be for the specific location or the city that we are physically located in. So I want you to pay close attention because even though Overland Park is a suburb of Kansas City, I'm not going to put Kansas City here because I shouldn't be focused on ranking for that. I should only be focused on ranking for the physical town that I am in. So in this case, this particular location is in Overland Park, so this would be Teeth Cleaned, Overland Park. And I would write a description that also includes the word Overland Park that really describes what the service is. I can change the name if I want, and in addition to changing the name, I can also add a completely custom service if Google hasn't recommended that. You can just write whatever you want, and you can put the city title right behind it. In this case, I could say something like Braces Overland Park. And after I add that service, I'll be prompted to add the description for that service. So this could take a little while, but by the time you're done, you should have all of your services represented on your Google Business Profile, all of them featuring the city name for location relevancy, and all for that particular location. For as many Google Business Profile locations you have, you want to repeat this exact same thing. However, like I said, you want to include that city instead of the one you just did. Anyway, let's talk about the next thing, and this is something that we see missing from quite a bit of dental profiles that we look at, and that would be the products. So the products are these right here, and they're not actually products. We like to use them to talk about services and provide links to the particular pages on the websites. So as you can see here, we have a different product for every service that this practice offers. When we scroll back up, we can click Edit Products, and they're all here. I'll scroll up and click on Products, and all of the products will be here. I'll come in and press Add Product, and this is where you would just type in the service. What I would do here is I would just go to your website, look at all of the services that you do, make sure each one of them is represented by the proper name. For the category, you can categorize them if you want. You can create a new category and organize them. That's something that we did. We haven't found that it had any real effect on rankings, but it's really your own preference there. You would put in the description. Again, this takes 1,000 characters. I don't think you have to get quite to 1,000 characters, but you do want a lengthy description that includes the city name that you want to rank for. In this case, for us, it would be Overland Park, a description of the service, and maybe some questions that you can answer about the service within this description. We're trying to be as helpful as possible, and we're trying to make Google Business Profile the one-stop shop because Google really likes it when you do that. You can get a lot of content from your specific page. So for instance, if we go to the braces page here, we can go ahead and we can grab some of this content, and I think that content will work out fine to paste in. We already did this, so it's not really relevant for us, but you could use some of that content from your website to fill this in a little more. You can also use ChatGPT to just spin it a little bit so it's unique. Once you have your description, you should put the link to the actual service page right here. So in this case, we would be linking to our braces page. We would put that right here, and then we would publish. We want to do that for every single service that we offer until we have all of these here. Oh, and I almost forgot. You can add a picture, and you should add a picture to represent those products, because that's just going to make the listing here look so much better. Make sure to completely fill it out, and you're going to be ahead of the majority of dentists who totally skip this part. Let's talk about the booking link, posts, and the Q&A. So the booking link is something that's pretty easy to set up. If you're using a platform like LocalMed or maybe even another practice management software that supports booking, you can just add it right in here. So you would add the link, type it in. This would be exactly the widget that LocalMed gives us that allows for booking. You would just link it right in here. That gives you this nice big blue button that lets you book online. This will also give you a schedule button on your Google Business Profile so that potential patients can just click this and schedule an appointment right away. If you take a look at the map results, your practice will definitely stand out with that big book online versus all of the others who don't have it. A lot of dentists do not add this, and it's really a missed opportunity because it just makes you take up more space and adds that extra layer of convenience that some patients really like. So questions and answers. That's this part of the Google Business Profile. You actually will end up getting a number of questions and answers over time naturally, but you can come in here and you can actually add questions and then answer them as the owner of the Google Business Profile. Sometimes other people will chime in and answer questions for you, but you can totally control this. It's a great way to get frequently asked questions right there on the Google Business Profile to, like I said before, make the Google Business Profile the one-stop shop for new patients. Let's talk about posts. A lot of people don't know that you can post to your Google Business Profile just like it's a social media account. That's something that you absolutely want to do, and we recommend you do it at least once per week. In this case, our client has been posting to it multiple times a week. They cover all of the holidays. They cover that they accept all different types of insurances. But for the most part, to make a post, you would just come in here, press Add Update. You can make it an update, which is just a general post. You can make it an offer or an event. But if you just come in and do Add Update, you can add a picture, write out your description, and you can add a button. This is one way of taking care of posts. There are plenty of different softwares and tools you can use to bulk schedule posts in advance, so you don't have to sit here and use this really slow editor all the time. Okay, so let's talk about perhaps the most important part of the checklist, and that is reviews and reputation management. Reviews are huge. You have to be getting reviews consistently. Google actually looks at your review frequency, and it looks at when you received your most recent review when it comes to determining where you rank. So even if there's a practice that's a competitor of yours that has 1,000, 2,000 reviews, if you have even 300 reviews, but you're getting them a lot more consistently, you will outrank that other practice, provided that you did a lot of the other things on the checklist right. So it's extremely important that you're always asking your patients for reviews, and you have a system for actually obtaining new reviews with each new patient that you have. The other thing you want to do is you want to respond to every single review that comes in, positive or negative. Responding to reviews shows that you care about feedback and you're actually engaging with the happy patients that have used you. Now, let me talk about some advanced techniques with reviews. It's not going to always happen, but sometimes there are reviews that are going to feature a picture. This is when the patient has used your practice and they uploaded a picture of their experience. This can be a picture of their new smile. This could be a picture of the outside, but for whatever reason, they decided to add a photo along with their review. That review looks really good in Google's eyes, but it's hard to tell patients to take a picture with every review. But if you have a clever way to get it done, you definitely want to feature pictures in your reviews. It also adds to your overall photo count, so you're taking care of uploading great photos with that as well. The other advanced tactic is when a patient is leaving a review, if they specifically mention the services that they engaged in and they mention the city that you're located in, then that's considered leaving keywords in your reviews. An example of this would be a parent that brings their daughter to get Invisalign. When they leave their review, they would say something like, wow, they did a great job at their Overland Park location. We got Invisalign, blah, 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 blah. So they mention Invisalign, they mention Overland Park. That's going to add more relevancy for that keyword and that location. Now, when it comes to where search is going, it is heavily shifting towards an AI-driven direction. People are using ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and even Google's Gemini to find results in businesses that they're looking for. So when it comes to what AIs are using as far as how to match someone searching to the ideal practice, they're looking at your reviews. The content of your reviews is very important when it comes to how these AIs understand your practice. Sure, they're going to use your website, they're going to use your description, they're going to use all of the content and information you put out there. But when they're trying to summarize you, they're going to say, this is what people had to say. And people say that they were good at this, people say that they offer this, but then people don't say this. But if you don't have a lot of reviews, you don't really have a lot of data for them to use, and they're going to go with recommending someone else who has more data. So I know it can get a little complicated, but really what it comes down to is you need more reviews. All right, so let's talk about some advanced techniques here. The first one is you need to embed your Google Business Profile on your website. Ideally, you would embed it onto your location page if you have multiple locations. If you're a single practice owner, then you could just put it on your contact page. You can put it in your footer, but you do need to embed your Google Business Profile on your website. To do that, you can just come in, search for your business, click on this little map up here. Once it loads, make sure that it's actually your profile. You can click on the menu up here, or you can click share. and then you go to embed a map. It's going to give you a little code. This is a code that you can give to your developer, or if you're building the website and managing it yourself, you can also take care of that. But you can use this code and place it on your site, and you've pretty much taken care of that advanced technique. The next thing is local backlinks. This is always something that's a little tough for people to grasp and understand, but really when it comes to backlinks, you don't have to get links from all of these crazy sites across the web, halfway across the country, overseas. You don't really need that because it's not relevant anymore, because a lot of those links really only serve the organic SERPs. And let's be honest, you're not really watching this video because the SERPs have served you very well. You want to rank on Google Maps 100%. So when it comes to what drives Google Maps rankings, local links can really help. So where should we get our links? We should get our links from the chamber. So you should join your local chamber. That's going to give you a link on their website, which is named after your city, and it's going to be extremely relevant for your location. The other place you should get links from are all of the business directories, your Yelps, your Bings, your Yahoos, all of that. You want to make sure that you join the dental associations and get references on their websites because those are all highly relevant to being a dentist. There's also things like press releases, getting on the news. That's all local. That's all something that's going to be referencing your city. You can do sponsorships. You can do partnerships with other businesses in town. Really, link building is about networking. You just want to figure out who to network with. I know you all have been there where you've gone to some networking events and they were really good. You met all of the right people, you made all of the right connections, and you actually grew as a result. Whereas you go to some networking events and it's okay, but it really didn't help your practice. The same could be said for the links that you're building. You're going to learn that it doesn't really take like a whole lot of these to actually move the needle. You really just need a good handful to see a noticeable move in your Google Business Profile rankings. Another advanced technique is the schema review tags. That's where you can get the reviews to actually show up in the search engine results like this. So it's pretty good. Again, it's more technical. You certainly want to get in touch with your developer when it comes to adding this, but you can add a code to your website that's actually going to pull the reviews from your location and place them in the results for your website. If you have multiple locations, I would just pick the location with the highest reviews, and I would actually tie those reviews into some of the search engine results. So when people are searching and potentially comparing you, they can see that nice review score pop up in the organic results as well. So the last advanced technique are your citations. So I talked about it a little bit earlier, but citations are really any website that has your name, address, phone number, and website listed on it, and they're listing you as if they're putting you in their directory, so to speak. Facebook is considered a citation. Google Business Profile is considered as a citation. Yellow Pages, Yelp, those are all considered citations for your business. They generally let you set up a free profile and put your information on there so that you can be more relevant. This helps your rankings because you're having your name, address, and phone number listed across the web. And all of these references to you being in that location adds that relevancy that Google's looking for when determining your trust factor and determining what you should rank for. So since I have my practice name plus Overland Park next to it, when someone is actually typing in dentist in Overland Park, I should be in that running. And based on my reviews, how my profile is optimized, and other components of my digital presence, I should be showing up in the top 3 in Google Maps. Now you can go to a site like Bright Local and have them build your citations, but there's some citations that they won't really be able to build for you. So they provide a list here. This is a list of a lot of dental specific citations. What you would want to do is you would want to come in here, click on one, sign up for a profile, and add your practice. It does take a little time to get through all of them, but ultimately you want your practice to be showing up in as many locations as possible using that same consistency between your name, address, and phone number so that you're providing all of that relevancy so that Google knows exactly where to put you when it comes to ranking you in Google Maps. So that was it. We went through everything on this checklist. If you don't have a copy of this, you can download it in the description of this video. This is totally free. It's specific for dental practices, but really any local business can use this to improve their rankings. We have used this to improve the local rankings of hundreds of Google business profiles, and we've gotten them all into the top 3 of Google Maps within their local area. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me by going to visibledental.com. We do this day in and day out for dental practices, and we'd love to show you how you can boost your visibility this year so that you can more reliably attract qualified patients using Google Maps. So that's everything when it comes to your Google business profile. If you follow all 40 of these points and stay consistent with your updates, you're going to see a noticeable increase in the amount of visibility you have and patients that reach out to your practice. Now, even though you have the checklist and you're going to take action on optimizing your Google business profile, that's really only the beginning of the entire patient journey. A patient finds you on Google, sure, but after that, they're going to start doing some research. One of the key places where they do that research, it's your social media. The problem, social media can be difficult to manage. It can be so time constraining to try and think about what you want to post this week, and then you have to get back and actually post again, especially when you're trying to manage your patient care. We created a video that you can watch right here that tells you exactly how to get your social media on track and automated so that you can plan months worth of posts in as little as 1 to 2 hours. Click the video above to watch it, and I'll see you there.